What's up, guys, and welcome back to Planet Coaster. If you're enjoying this series, make sure to leave a like on the video. It'd be greatly appreciated. Now that we finally have the perfect family coaster, I think we're ready to start working on our next theme zone. Now, before you say anything, I realize both the pirate theme zone and the now vintage theme zone aren't technically done. Neither one of them are technically finished, but it's spooky season, and I feel like it's only fair that we have just a tiny portion of this park be a little creepy, a little spooky. So that's what we're going to get up to today. Before we can really start working on this new zone, though, we've got to make a decision on the American Arrow, because it's kind of right in our way. So it's either got to go, or we need to try to find a better spot for it. Now, for the latter, we don't really have anywhere else where it would fit, nor does it really match any of the other themed areas. So unfortunately, I do think we're just going to have to straight up demolish the thing, but it's been really good to us. I mean, we've made $377,000 since we built this thing, but now that we've kind of moved it to the outskirts of the park, it's just not really getting the attention that it deserves. So, one final salute to the American Arrow. Thank you for your service. Now that we've got that taken care of, dude, we've got all the space in the world and just shy of 40,000 schmackaroonies chilling in the back pocket. So let's do some marketing campaigns real quick like. We'll do all three of them, disable auto renew for all three. We only have 2,700 guests right now. We need that to be right around 3,000 preferably. But what I'm envisioning for this new zone is a big old grand staircase like smack dab in the center of it. And then instead of doing the usual facade thing that we do to sort of separate two different themed areas, I kind of want a big retaining wall. I don't know that that's going to be spooky necessarily, but I think we can figure something out. Honestly, I didn't realize how many spooky scenery pieces there really were. It's a lot. It is a lot, but that's good. That's good, right? It's going to make sort of theming this zone a lot easier. So I found, I think it's called a crypt wall base. That's what we're going to kind of use for this retaining wall. I think it's going to work out okay for us, but I do still want some type of like fence on the top side. So I'm thinking something like this, or maybe even a little shorter. Yeah, maybe something like that would be better. I've never made a spooky themed area, so I don't even know, is there like a spooky path? That looks like Burger King. That looks like every Burger King. That looks like my kitchen floor, dude. Every Burger King ever, I swear. Definitely not using that one. Obviously not a fan. What about that, though? That looks kind of spooky. We'll go with that for now, unless we find something better. How about the railing on that, though? Is that kind of spooky, too? A little bit. A little bit. Okay. Yeah, we can work with that. So my idea now, obviously, I don't just want to have a path floating up here. I think that looks really, really bad. What I want to do is raise the terrain in this area so that it's just higher up. It sits up higher than any other zone that we have. We don't have any elevated zones apart from like a few rides on mountains and stuff. So I'd really love to have an entire zone be elevated instead. So it's going to take me a while to figure out how to do this perfectly. But give me a few minutes. I think we got this.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
What a big pimpin'. What going on? Yeah, so it ran for a little while until it didn't, and then it got to the point where it wouldn't even turn over.
It turns over pretty strong.
Well, that's good. That's good news. And then you were gonna see if you couldn't get a bracket for that pedal, right?
Yeah, I'll make a bracket for it.
Tell you what, having that flop around trying to test drive it sucked.
Yeah.
It was so bad. Dude, I had it duct taped to the floor for a while.
I've seen that.
Yeah. Is it still duct tape?
There is some duct tape on it.
Oh my god. I'm sorry you had to see that. Right on. Sounds good, brother. I appreciate you.
Yep.
All right. See ya. Well, that's good news. I just got off the phone with my mechanic, and it sounds like my R32 project, the car that hasn't run in like 5 years, could just need a fuel pump. It could be that simple, man. That's fantastic news. All right, so I've been working on this here retaining wall for quite some time now, and I'm getting to the point where I'm happy with it, but because the terrain is so close to this main path over here, we're not going to be able to get the grass to kind of spread to meet the retaining wall. So I'm trying to find something that I could put in between here that kind of looks like grass. Man, if only we were doing a festive themed zone instead of a spooky themed zone. Dude, this snow pile would work perfectly. Or if we could like recolor this, that would have probably worked great too. But I'm gonna keep looking here. There's gotta be something we can use. Okay, not gonna lie, kind of forgot about these. That is perfect. And we could change the color of it to maybe a darker green to try to make it look more like grass. I still don't know what sort of texture I want all this terrain to be anyways, at least for like this tiered bit right here. What I want to do is make both of these like graveyards, pretty much. So this could work. This has gone so incredibly well, knock on wood, that I might actually be able to finish before lunch for a change. That almost never happens on Planet Coaster recording days because they tend to take a little longer than most other recordings. But as you can see here, we have our modular planter boxes placed around the perimeter of our retaining wall. And I tried to match the green to the best of my abilities. I think, honestly, that's going to be about as good as it's going to get. But before we start working on the whole graveyard situation, I want to see if we couldn't put one, maybe two rides out here just to see if the guests would even be remotely interested in this new area. Now, we're going to be using some blueprint rides for this. I know there are two, off the top of my head, there are two track rides that sort of fit that same spooky theme, that spooky aesthetic. So the Jailer's Den is one of them, and the other is the Witch's Haunt. At first glance, I thought that said Witch's Hut. I guess I'm just dyslexic. So I think whichever one is larger, we'll put on the right, and whichever one is smaller, we'll put on the left. It looks like the Witch's Haunt is just a little smaller. So we'll place that down over here. And then do we want them this way? Or do we want them long ways, like this? I don't know what would be... this would probably be better looking, right? Because then both buildings would sort of overlook the graveyard. Let's go with that. We'll get them both placed down, and then we can start to configure a queue around them. Dude, I got to start going into these recordings with zero expectations, right? I had no plan for this whatsoever at the start of today. I just knew that we were going to make a spooky themed zone, and it already looks as good as it does. I realize we only have two rides, and we still don't have a queue for either one of them. I'm just really surprised. That's all. Just really, really surprised. So let's get these queues banged out, and then we can see if any of our guests are going to be remotely interested in this area.
1 hour later.
All right, now that we have the queues in place, we can start to edit these rides just a little bit. Because they were blueprint rides, though, they're probably pretty well set up already, so I don't think there's really too much here that we need to change. We'll switch that to full load. We'll change this to 120. The only reason being is all the other rides are set to 120, and I have mad AC/DC. It's really bad. For those of you that don't understand why I say AC/DC, I get this question a lot. It's undiagnosed. It's unconfirmed. So I won't call it ADHD or OCD or any of the other things. It's just AC/DC. But let's get a test going on the Jailer's Den, and then we will do the same over here for the Witch's Haunt. All right, the testing is now complete. Let's check our prestige. The Witch's Haunt, 1135. The Jailer's Den, 1260. Dude, we're gonna open both of these suckers up straight away. We finally have something to give old Quick Draw out here a run for its money. It does have a prestige of 1316. However, it's also reached its classic reputation. These two over here, these bad boys is brand spanking new. And they've got plenty of room to grow. 12 years until this hits classic, and 13 until the Witch's Haunt hits classic. When I read the Witch's blank, my mind goes somewhere else. It is definitely Haunt, though the thing that I'm thinking of would probably be a good alternative name, but we can't do that. We can't do that here. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you're probably not old enough. But both these rides are open. We've got people running up these steps, ready to get in line for these. Oh, dude, we haven't even adjusted prices yet. Okay, let me get the handy dandy calculator out. We got 1260 divided by 35, $36. 36 smackaroonies just for that one. And then 1135 divided by 35 is going to be 3242. Okay, now these people can start getting in line. Oh, we're probably going to want some ATMs over here too. I'll do that. I'll do that in a little while. Maybe. But first, we've got to ride these things. I've never used these in any park. So I'm just going to be quiet and we'll enjoy the ride. Honestly, pretty sick. A little short, definitely a little short, but look at how many people are already in this area, dude. Okay, this is great. This is, I mean, I would say gone according to plan, but I had no plan. I do have to fix the terrain over here. I realize that looks a little how you going, right? But I couldn't help but notice Discount Ursula over here. I guess she's just supposed to be a witch? Not really sure, but that one, very sick. Let's try out the other. We've got a pretty great view of the gargoyles' backsides from here. That's cool. All right, here we go. This is kind of a toss-up, man. I don't know which one I really like more. This one's definitely longer, and I still can't get over the gargoyles just kind of mooning us as we're sitting in the ride. But if I had to pick a favorite, I gotta go with this one. I gotta go with this one just because the duration of the ride is a little bit longer. It seems like there's more going on. We actually go through like an entire building in this one, whereas this one's kind of more so just outside. Both of which, like both ride POVs probably would have been better at night, but it is what it is, right? So what we need to do now is create a brand spanking new work roster just for this new zone, and I'm just gonna call it Spooky. We're gonna need at least one janitor. We're gonna need at least one mechanic, at least one security guard, and, well, I mean, King Ghoster, of course. Look at that. Again, first time we've ever used him in any park. I love it. Okay, so now that we have our employees, that's great and all, but we do have to apply them to this work roster. What's our reliability looking like on these? Oh, it's high? Okay, so every 20 minutes, I believe, is how we've been doing that. And this one, same deal. Beautiful, dude. So not only are they attracting a whole bunch of people, but also they theoretically shouldn't break down as often as all of our other rides. They're probably going to break down still. I mean, let's be real. That's just kind of the way that this super hardcore mode has been going for us. So now that we have both of these incredible rides opened up, I'm going to turn my attention back to the little graveyard thing I was working on earlier, and we'll see if we can't get that finished up. I'll see you guys here in just a few minutes. Okay, honestly, I've had so much fun decorating this new area that I kind of forgot that I was recording, so that's my bad, but I think you guys are really gonna like what I've done. Also, the whole I might be able to have lunch on time for a change thing, yeah, that didn't happen. It's 2 p.m., so we're a bit late there, but I'll have lunch after this. So, all I really was focused on was the graveyard. I wanted to try to make it as spooky as possible. Now, what I haven't done yet, I was kind of waiting for you guys, I haven't seen what this place looks like at night. And it is just as spooky. Could use maybe a light inside of the crypt so that we can actually see what's going on. This one is a little bit different. I didn't want to make them, you know, all the same. But all of the tombstones or gravestones that have skulls on them, of course, have skeletons inside the open grave site. So that one's just a hand, and then we have this guy over here that's more of a full-bodied skeleton. And then as you can probably tell, we've got that eerie sort of fog covering the entire graveyard. It just looks, it looks so good, dude. It really does. And again, I've never even messed around with any of these scenery pieces, and there are a lot of really good scenery pieces for the spooky pack. King Ghoster, didn't realize that you glow in the dark. That's kind of sick. What the heck you doing down there, bub? Oh, you know what? He's probably looking for a staff resting facility. My bad. Yeah, I'll add those someday, just not today. He's gonna go right back down the steps, isn't he? Yep, cool. I wanted to get a good look at these buildings too, now that it's at night, so we can kind of see what we're working with there. Ooh, I love the light underneath the bigger gargoyle there. That looks good. Okay, lighting is solid. I definitely think this area is gonna need a lot more path illumination just to kind of make it especially spooky. You know what I'm saying? I decided to leave this grassy area just above the cemetery open so that we could maybe use it for vendors or first aid facilities, bathrooms, staff resting facilities, you know, stuff along those lines. There might be a better location for those things elsewhere, but for right now, that's kind of my idea. Also, we've got ATMs. We kind of need them because we had a lot of people turning away because they didn't have enough money in their pockets. So that does seem to have helped slightly. We've got another one just across the way from this ride. But dude, I'm kind of beating myself up a little bit because I'm mad that I never even thought to try a spooky themed area. I mean, this might be one of my favorites thus far, and it's not even close to being finished yet. But on that note, I do think that's where we're going to have to wind things down at for today. Once again, if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, leave a comment, help support the dream by smashing that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Peace.